The timbale player is the drummer of the band. His job is to play time, play fills, and set up all of the different figures for each section in a tune. In a traditional setup, the timbales have 2 drums, 2 cowbells, and 1 cymbal. Now, many things can be added to this. I've added a jam block here so that I can play clave with it, even though I also play clave with my foot on the gajate bracket. And I've also added a bass drum for punches similar to what a drummer would do in catching band figures. Now you'll notice that in the performance with the band, I've used more timbales. Now that was to add a larger variety of sounds. So let's go over what each drum is called and its function. Now the sides of the timbales are called pailas or cáscara, and it means the shell of the drum. Now the high drum of the timbale is the equivalent to what a snare drum would be on a drum set. So it's the primary drum of the 2 drums. The low drum becomes the tom-tom or bass drum like you would have on a drum set. Now let's look at the cowbells. There are 3 main cowbells that are used. There's the cha-cha bell, the bongo bell, which we have already discussed, and the mambo bell. Now, each one of these bells has a specific function. The cha-cha bell is primarily used in the rhythm of cha-cha, guajira, bomba, and Mozambique. It is a small bell and it has a high pitch. Now, the mambo bell is a larger bell, and it's the equivalent to what a ride cymbal would do on a drum set. And in a Latin band, you ride on the mambo bell, whereas the cymbal becomes an instrument for doing specific band punches. You can ride on it, but it's primarily used for hitting band figures. In this particular setup, I'm using the salsa malo bells. Now, this is just one type of bell that is used, and there are also some black beauty bells that are used. They have a different pitch, and this is always a matter of personal preference. Now, many times the timbale player plays with the left hand on the low drum and a stick in the right hand. Now, let's look at what the right hand plays on the right-hand side paila, and here is a common traditional mambo pattern. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to this we will add the left hand playing the notes in between the right hand on the left paila. So we have one hand on each side of the drum with sticks. This will be in 3-2 clave. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now let's see the pattern 3 clave. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the next pattern is also in 3-2 clave, and we will add a triplet to enhance the paila or cáscara pattern in a different way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are a few paila exercises. There are many more depending on the rhythms that you are playing. But essentially, this is how you play them. More towards the tip of the stick and on the sides or the shell of the drums. Now, sometimes timbale players will hold their stick with their thumb and play the drum with their fingers. And many times they will just lay the stick on the timbale and just play the low drum with their hand. Now, here are some exercises. And the main two sounds that we will be working with will be the muffled tone and the open tone. So if we play the right hand pattern of the mambo and add the muffled tone on beat 2 and the open tone on beat 4, we will get the following pattern. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this can also be done with the stick. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a look at the rhythm of cha-cha or guajira, which are very similar in style. We'll start playing on the cha-cha bell. Now you alternate on the bell by playing toward the open part of the bell and then the neck of the bell. And this is a very common motion that is done. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do some exercises with the cha-cha pattern. To the basic cowbell pattern, we will add some different left-hand patterns. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Okay, now let's add a mambo bell pattern with the left hand. This is a pattern that is used when you switch from the sides of the timbale to the mambo bell. It is a common ride pattern on the mambo bell. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't use your left hand on the low drum, you can play clave on the jam block with your left hand. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's look at a very common fill that is done on timbales called abanico, which means the fan. It really means a roll, though. And that was the name given to it because most of the people who played these instruments were not schooled in rudimental drumming. So they would call things by name, by what they sounded like. Now, a flurry of notes sounded like a fan. So let's look at a roll. Now, this will be a 5-stroke roll. It is a common way of coming into a song. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now the 7-stroke rolls and the 9-stroke rolls will be used. 1, 2. Okay, so I played these rolls open, and I'm just going to give you an example of the 5-stroke roll played closed. And you can do all the other ones closed. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all types of little entrance fills that can be played. It's pretty much up to you.